Well, that's a bit of a bummer, isn't it?
A little bit.
CM Punk just won the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing this past weekend. Yeah. And now he's injured.
And it's gone.
And he needs surgery.
Sort of. It's kind of gone. It's not really gone.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? Well, let's talk about it. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast review of Rampage and SmackDown. I'm Chopper Pete Quinn. I'm joined by my intangible co-host, Tempest. Send in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll go through all of those that are $5 and up by the time the show goes off the air. If you have any thoughts about any of this, who do you think should be the new interim champion? Who should be winning the Battle Royal? Who should be facing who at Forbidden Door? Tell us your thoughts, your feelings, your theories. Because we'll talk about it now because this happened on Rampage, where Mr. Punk came out for a promo, and he was pretty sad. You could see that. Tears in his eyes, was very emotional about all of this, and came out and said, like, you know, I've got good news and bad news. Good news is that I can come back and defend my stuff afterwards. Bad news, I'm injured, I need surgery. He didn't say exactly what his injury was, but he was kind of alluding to the fact that one of his wheels was broken, so I assume it's like a foot or an ankle or a leg injury of some description. He seemed to be limping a lot after Dynamite from this past week. Basically, after he did the stage dive, seemed to be kind of like limping a little bit after that. So maybe that's something to do with that. That's speculation on my part. But regardless, it seems he is injured. He needs surgery of some description. He's going to be out for an undisclosed amount of time. And what's going to happen now is he's not relinquishing the title. This was very confusing on Rampage, but they did try to clear it up. Thank you, Chris Jericho, for getting it wrong. So what's happening is CM Punk is still your AEW World Champion. There will be an interim champion crowned. How we will crown this interim champion is on Dynamite next week. We're going to have a battle royal that's going to kick off the episode. Whoever wins that battle royal will face Jon Moxley in the main event of that episode to then go on to Forbidden Door to face someone else for the interim championship. That's how that's working. Jon Moxley's number one in the rankings, which is why he's facing the winner of the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal is to determine his opponent, and whoever wins that will face someone at Forbidden Door. Maybe that's still Tanahashi, considering it was going to be Tanahashi versus Punk anyway. Who knows? But that's apparently what the plan is. This promo, though, was...
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, it took me a little bit.
I thought I knew what they were talking about, and as I was editing my Rampage review, I was like, oh no, I got that wrong. I also didn't understand what they were saying. And I had to...
Yeah. I feel like this is an issue with... Because I don't know if this was like a last-minute call or they were kind of making stuff up on the fly or whatever. Because, I mean, they had graphics and stuff ready, so you'd think they knew what they were going to announce beforehand. And maybe this is just an issue with Rampage's pacing. But, like, they need to give it more time to breathe. They should have, like, announced this as part of Punk's segment, really. But, whatever.
Yeah, see, like, if you just had a full screen... and had Excalibur kind of just go like, okay, here's what's going to happen. Punk's just say everything that you just said, basically. And didn't like try to explain it during another match. Because I was just like, oh my God, there's a little lower third graphic. What did it say? That was the AEW championship thing. Like, you know, I was just like, I wasn't really paying all the attention to it in that moment. And I was like, wait a minute, what was that? And I had to rewind and I still didn't get it because it was too complicated. With something like with this much stuff, it's like trying to explain the reverse battle royal in another match. Yeah. You know, it's really quite simple. Is it though? Like, sometimes pretend that I'm dumb. Explain it to me like I'm dumb. Yeah. Make this as simple as possible. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, like this is exceptionally unfortunate. This was supposed to be the summer of Punk. Yep. We were going to get Summer of Punk 3 Electric Boogaloo, and no, instead we're getting whatever this is. So,
I don't know, man.
I don't know what they do. If I had to guess what the direction would be for Forbidden Door, they've been building, well, they, quote unquote, New Japan more than AEW, has been building to Moxley versus Tanahashi for like a year, it feels like. I thought that was going to be the match at All Out last year, and instead we got Kojima, which I'm not upset about, but I thought we were getting Tanahashi. So if you just do Moxley versus Tanahashi for the title, I think that works. Unless you want to have like Bryan Danielson win this battle royal and then have an excellent Blackpool Combat Club match in the main event and have Bryan Danielson face Tanahashi, I wouldn't be upset with that either. But I'm looking at like the most logical next steps here for a big pay-per-view that they really want to sell like all the pay-per-view buys to possible. You probably have to go with one of those two.
I think so, yeah. Like there's an argument to be made that you could do something shocking here because we don't know how long CM Punk is going to be out for.
Hook versus Tanahashi.
I was genuinely just about to suggest Hook. Like there's a possibility of doing something truly shocking, of having someone like a Wardlow, like a Hook, like I don't know, Keith Lee, like Penta,
Swerve.
I don't know, Malachi Black, Swerve. Like anyone like that who's just like not really in the title picture at all right now. You would have Miro, great shout, as you have an opportunity to put someone in that spotlight who you wouldn't expect to be in that spotlight right now. And that could kickstart a brand new story that you weren't even planning on telling, which can culminate with CM Punk coming back. Because the thing is, CM Punk can still win that unification match.
Yeah.
And you can have someone. I would almost think the story would be better if you have someone inexperienced win the belt and they lose it to Punk. They have a relatively short reign because, you know, fingers crossed CM Punk comes back before too long. You know, he was still walking. It doesn't seem like it's a super duper severe injury. So fingers crossed he can get, you know, quick recovery and come back in the next few months, hopefully. So maybe by like All Out time, he might be back. Maybe, fingers crossed. If not, full gear. But even then, you can have someone who's inexperienced win the belt, lose it to Punk, and have a relatively short reign. But then you can play that off in the story and be like, they're an inexperienced wrestler. You know, they're still young. They've still got room to learn and grow. And, you know, next time when they come down years in the future, challenging for the title again, and you say, look, I've learned from my past mistakes. I'm not the same kid that I was before. I'm ready to be world champion again. And I feel like that could really help one particular wrestler's rise. I think that would be a really fun story. But also, Moxley or Danielson, right? Like, they're also good options.
I think that is like a really good idea, not for right before the New Japan pay-per-view.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, if it didn't have to be culminated in the main event of Forbidden Door, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That sounds like a really fun way. Just like put the title on friggin' Jungle Boy for a summer. You know? Just like give him something. It's an interim title, right? So like you can have heels say like you're not a real champion and have them prove them wrong, but he still has to prove himself later. There's a lot that you could do with something like that. At the same time, just like put the interim title on MJF. You know, right? Like there's possibilities endlessly for this. At the same time, I know you probably can't do this because the summer is a busy time for them, but I don't know that I wouldn't just put the interim title on Tanahashi. Just like, you know, say like, hey, you have one of the best wrestlers of all time coming in and being like part of your title lineage. That's pretty cool, you know, and it doesn't have to be like a long run. It can just be until All Out, but just have him come out and do a few main event matches on Dynamite, maybe a title defense halfway through the pay-per-view cycle. There's a lot that you could do with this. Unfortunately, and my number one option would still be Summer of Punk if I had my way, but thankfully with a roster like this, they can basically take this any direction that they want to, and I still have a fair amount of confidence that it's still going to be good. Yeah.
And yeah, I genuinely, I'd put Tanahashi as a very high option on this list. I think this isn't a positive thing. Punk getting injured is not a good thing because the best thing that could happen is CM Punk is the champion and goes on and has a great run. But this has potentially presented an opportunity for them to take something shocking, like a young guy winning it, a New Japan guy winning it, something that you wouldn't see coming, And they can do it now as an interim champion. This is a really unique opportunity that I really hope they take. But the thing is, a question for you, and I guess for the chat as well. Would you be disappointed if they just had Moxley win?
Personally, no. And that to me is like entirely linked to Moxley not having a proper run as AEW World Champion in the first place. If there was no pandemic and there was no other factors to play into, yeah, maybe a little bit, because I do think that this is the kind of opportunity where you can do something like crazy that no one's expecting, right? Because you had your plan and now you're just kind of looking at a blank sheet of paper. Like, what do you want to do with your summer? And you're not locked into a long-term plan now, because I would assume a good amount of that will still kind of be on hold until Punk gets back. So you kind of you can do a filler season. You can do a filler season of Dynamite here for the summer. And you know what? Sometimes the filler seasons are the opportunity to do something different, to actually take time and develop a character, or just do something that you wouldn't do otherwise. And that might be putting the title on a young guy. That might be putting the title on Tanahashi, but that also might be giving someone a chance to rectify something that they didn't have previously, like a proper, nice, long world title reign for Jon Moxley. So, I still think that we are going to benefit from what's just happened. It's just still a shame, Yeah. It's like we'll probably get lemonade coming out of this, but we just got a lot of lemons all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We sure did. It's very sour as well, this whole thing. And it's not leaving a great taste in a lot of people's mouths. That was 2 lemon puns in one, by the way. You're welcome.
You're doing great, Pete. Great, Pete. And for all the people saying Eddie Kingston, I like this idea, but if Eddie Kingston's going to win the world title, I need him to beat Punk for it.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I mean, he doesn't have to. He could just beat another top heel, but I don't think this is the time. Him winning needs to be in New York, or it needs to be one of the biggest babyface moments in AEW history.
Right.
And not that it wouldn't be that at Forbidden Door, but I think you can make it bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. It's a shame though. Like, if you're gonna pull that trigger and have Eddie win, doing it on a pay-per-view is pretty big. Like, you could potentially do it bigger, but maybe you don't have that luxury. Like, if you want to do it now, you got to do it now. Like, you just got to pull the trigger and make it as big as you can. It's on pay-per-view. It's in Chicago, it's pretty big. Anyway, God, there's so many options. There's so many really exciting options. Right, Tempest, if it was you right now, who would win the Battle Royal? Who would become interim champion?
I would say Danielson wins the Battle Royal. They do a very fun main event on Dynamite. Moxley still wins, and I would have Tanahashi win the title.
It's fun. I like that.
And you could see my bias seeping through in that one a little bit. But hey, if I'm going to fantasy book what I want to see the most, I want to see Tanahashi on Dynamite for an entire summer.
Hell yeah. That'd be amazing. Yeah. If it was me, I would have MJF.
That's fun. That's a fun option.
I don't think it's feasible, but I want it. I don't think it would. I don't know how you'd get it to work. I don't know how you'd get him to win the Battle Royal, beat Moxley, and then potentially beat Tanahashi without ruining the work shoot vibe of everything that's going on right now. I don't know how that would work, because really what you'd want is MJF to steal the title.
Yeah.
He finds himself in a title match and he's barely seen even up to it, and he just steals it and he runs away again, and he's not seen again afterwards and holds the title hostage because screw AEW and all that stuff. I don't know how it would work, but I just want to see MJF as interim champion, to have CM Punk answer the call when he comes back. That just sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, of course they could go wrong with this. They could put the title on Dan Lambert or something. That would be the wrong move. But I think, yeah. Oh God, they have a lot of very good options to choose from. and with their track record, I have faith that they will choose a good one.
Yeah. I think there's very few people on that roster. Realistic choices, let's put it that way. I think there's very few realistic choices where they could go with, and I'll be like, I don't quite like that.
Right.
Because I think pretty much any choice that they make, I'll be like, I can see why they've done that. That makes sense.
I mean, I'd probably be disappointed if they put it on like Chris Jericho.
Yes.
That'd be disappointing maybe, but like even still, I'm just like you could go through the entire list of roster and just be like, well, it would be disappointing if they did this and this, and it was like, well, they're not going to do that, so that's just wasting energy. I also have no idea where I placed my phone, and I will be perfectly honest, I was hoping to use that to look something up real quick, and I'm like, where is it? So you can start the Ultra Chat bit. I'm just gonna give a quick look around because I had it when I sat down.
Oh my god. I before this stream started, I had a little thing with our moderator who's gathering the Ultra Chats today, who had put the Ultra Chat document in Comic Sans. And I said, what are you doing? Comic Sans, that's disgusting. Right? She changed it to Arial. I changed it to Pacifico, which is very fancy and very squiggly. And I'll be honest, I can't read them, so I'm going to change them again. Sorry.
You just can't be satisfied, can you, Pete?
No, I really can't. I apologize, Amanda, but I need it back to something I can read.
I don't know. It's in the void. It's disappeared into the ether. I think it could be in the living room or at the kitchen table for all those who didn't watch our podcast extras. You got Tempest going on a field trip today.
Sure did. Yeah, that's a reason to become a member or a pledge hammer today. You get to see Tempest field trip around his house.
Yep.
We got a suggestion from Doesn't saying just have Pete call your phone. I don't have Tempest's number. I
feel like that's not true. We're in the same Wordle league, but at the same time, like
not anymore.
Oh yeah, you left because you're.
I'm not in the group chat anymore. I don't think I actually saved your number from that. Whoops.
Oh, thanks, Pete.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I see how it is. I saved your number. I understand that LIW only goes one way.
Oh no. No, I feel very bad. Anyway, Ultrachat, send them in. WrestleTalk.com/support.
I'm gonna go find my phone.
This is where Tempest's going to find his phone and call me and be like, save this number right now. Send in your Ultra Chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. Going to read all the ones that are $5 and up by the time the show goes off the air. Hannah Allen says, hey gents, Punk's emotion gave away we were in for something real. I went through the feels as well, but it was also done in a way where he controlled the narrative. And man can tell a story. Unfortunate, but handled brilliantly. Lots of love. #Jam the Jam. #LIW is fine. I don't know if we are anymore. Hannah Allen continues to say, by the way, this MJF stuff has me hooked. Like, come on, who can't look at that situation, whether work or otherwise, and feel something? That's what wrestling is supposed to do, and that's even what MJF said he does for us. He's not wrong. I want to give him a hug. Yeah. What Hannah said. Tempest has messaged me just to say, Dick. That's the whole message. I'm just going to add that to contacts. Create new contact.
I think that was a text from a guy named Dick, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. Yep.
You know, when you just you just send the first text and you just send your name so the other person knows who it is. Maybe that's what that was.
Must have been that. Charles Berg says AEW has a very unique opportunity. Oftentimes, wrestling companies do their best work when unplanned things happen. So I'd like someone whose first main roster match in WWE was also Punk's last main roster match. The time is now. I want Miro to be champ. Also, Pete, I want to talk to you about Wrestle League. It sucks that you guys have been having issues, but I want you to know that it's totally okay. You've revamped it. There are bound to be issues, so don't beat yourself up. Everything will work out eventually. Thank you, Charles Berg. Appreciate it. Wrestle League has been stressful, but we're working on it. We're working on fixing it, so fear not. And yeah, Miro as champ, I'll be all for that.
Yeah, give me that. Give me that. Like, yeah.
After his return promo this week, I'm ready for him to be a main eventer. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I felt a wave of relief come over me like I did when I saw Miro come back on Dynamite. It was like, I was just talking about this today.
Yeah.
Oh, Miro and Kenny are like my two, like, I'm Wolverine sitting in bed, just petting a picture of Jean Grey, just being like, please, Miro, come back. And he came back, and now I want him on top. You know, he needs to win the world title like within the next 12 months.
Yeah. Southern Blue says, hope Punk recovers soon, but here are 5 guys who I think could win the title at Forbidden Door. Mox, Miro, Tanahashi, Kingston, or Cole. Who do you think / want to see win it? Well, we've already given our thoughts, I think, but Cole's also a good shout as well.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you have more exciting options, but Cole's solid.
Yeah. Like, again, anybody from like the top third of AEW's roster, I wouldn't have a problem with, really.
Yeah. Young on Watch says, well, there goes the summer of Punk. So what's the order now? Moxley, Punk, Eddie, then MJF? I don't even know. I don't know if they know the order at this point, because TK was saying that he had the first 4 champions lined up, which he's done now. So I don't know. After this, it's anyone's guess, really.
I wouldn't be surprised if like he has an idea of, well, maybe not right now, because again, this week has kind of been nuts. But in general, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan has like, okay, well, this is who we've got it on now, and we're probably looking at you next and you next. I don't think he's really thinking like 3 years down the road at this point anymore, because I don't think you can do that anymore. You can have like, you can put them on a highway and just be like, go this direction, but I don't think you can control exactly every turn of the direction of the journey now, when so many people are jumping into the car and maybe some people are going to get out, and just, it's going to be a lot to keep track of. It's going to be really tough for them to have that long planned out storyline, but I still think there's going to be a lot more like planning that you can tell has taken place than maybe in other companies.
Yeah, and I think it would be actually restrictive to only do to have a plan like 3 years from now, because that means that you're not listening to what's happening, and if something organically gets over or something isn't working or whatever, you need to be flexible with your storytelling. So I hope that he doesn't have like, these are the next 4 champions. That's definitely what's going to happen, because you need to be patient with it and see what happens. Frank Botello said MJF should be the last person in the Battle Royal eliminated by Naito, a New Japan guy that has a history of dropping people on their head in a New Japan way, not a careless way. That's funny.
I don't know. I saw those matches with Ibushi. That would tiptoe over into careless territory for sure.
Yeah. Tenraza said, Mox has been saying he wants Tanner, and it makes sense with their recent New Japan history. Tanner should be flying out tomorrow to be there and ready to win the Battle Royal and have that main event Forbidden Door. Pete, hot shot Cornell with the MJF pick. Hey, you know it'd be great. Don't put that on me. It would be very
honestly
good.
In a moment like this where things just change so rapidly, maybe that's when you hot shot something. I don't know. Maybe that's
Here's
when you
a
hot shot
question,
something.
Tempest.
Is
this all the work? CM Punk's
Is
injury?
it all the work? It was all the
it's
work.
all to get
CM
MJF
Punk's
that
injury.
interim champion, man. Where's my tinfoil hat?
Yep.
God.
Hot shot. Pete.
Yeah, that's me. Graham Shaw said interim titles come with an inherent asterisk, imposter syndrome, and feelings you're not really the champion. Eddie Kingston is the perfect person to be the interim champion that must beat Punk to validate his reign or forever feel like a fraud. That's really interesting.
Wouldn't be a bad Wouldn't be a bad story.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. That's really good. I didn't even consider that story aspect. That's great. Manuel Cifuentes said, "Bummer. I was there live last night for Rampage, and I was getting Edge retirement vibes. Glad it wasn't that. But could this be a work for MJF to win the Battle Royal? Overall, badass show last night with the tag team match, but way too many dark matches. I have no idea how many dark matches there were.
I mean,
but
you kind of need to load up a Rampage taping with dark matches because Rampage is only an hour long. You're gonna pay those ticket prices and go and watch an hour of wrestling? Maybe, but nah.
Yeah.
Besides, dark matches are fun.
Yeah,
you get really good matches on dark.
Hey, look, I think the chances of all this being a work are really, 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 really slim. But you know what? If it is, like,
the most
then
brilliantly orchestrated
what's the work it's been? You know, like
Yeah.
I would be so happy if I've been worked.
Yeah, it'll come second all time in works next to when we find out that Montreal was at work. Finally, 25 years later, the truth will finally come out.
Yeah,
those are my favorite people. The Montreal was at work people.
God, don't even.
See, people, they did exist in 97 too. All the folks that are like, oh, Twitter ruined wrestling. No, these people have always existed.
Omar Hosue said, okay, let's say Punk is out for 2 months. Have Malachi win the title by using the numbers game during the Battle Royal and Tanahashi matches. They win the tag belts as well until Punk comes back with FTR as backup. House of Black versus CMFTR to unify the AEW titles.
Again, it wouldn't be my first choice, but like you say that and it sounds good.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have Malachi Black be champion right now just because Spooky and all that. It might be too different from everything else that they're doing, but I mean, that would be a good match.
Yeah. Mr. Cider said, been waiting to drop an Ultrachat for this one. In New Japan's Windy City Riot, Moxley called up Tanahashi for a match. So Mox #1 contender versus Tana for interim AEW champion at Forbidden Door. AEW Ace versus New Japan Ace. Book it, Tony. Ollie, go bold like Luke and Pete. How dare you?
I'll tell him you said that.
Yeah. And AEW should use this time to develop and improve the women's division. That bitch Summer sounds great. I'm assuming that's what it is. It's censored, so I'm going to assume it's that. That sounds good to me.
Every summer is that bitch Summer when you're Tempest.
Love it. And we'll do one more and then we'll get into the rest of Rampage. Mark said Sky was also limping after his match. Looked worse than selling, and tweets from the venue said he kept limping afterwards unless he's being a total pro for the crowd. If he's hurt, that'd be both singles titles holders out, but wouldn't be against a TNT reset. I think that was selling personally, but you never know.
I as well. I'm on the same page as you. We'll see what comes of it. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that'd be a shame. I don't want to see people get hurt, but we'll see.
No, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the rest of Rampage. Then we'll get into the SmackDown review afterwards. Rampage.
Pete.
So I didn't know Tempest. Hello, Tempest.
Hey, Pete.
Hello.
Can I do a thing first?
Oh, of course. Yes, please.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Pete. I figured I would wait until after the Ultrachats, but ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement, and it's not the announcement that you're expecting. I am very excited to announce that coming the end of this month, on June 23rd, Tempest will be making his live commentary debut for Demand Lucha Block Party in Toronto.
That's
gonna
awesome.
Be goddamn exciting. Ninja Mac is on that show. Gringo Loco is the new world champion. Kevin Blackwood's gonna be on the show. I know people on these indies. I'm a connoisseur of indie wrestling, of course. But make sure that you come out if you're in the Toronto area. Support your boy. I was at their show last week, and it was a damn fine indie show. So there was live music. It was like just really fun. It was a 19-club bar. You could get a drink if you wanted to. Go out, watch some Lucha in Toronto. June 23rd, Demand Lucha. Come support your boy. I'm gonna be a commentator for a night, Pete.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
Thanks, buddy.
That's very cool.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Are you going to be Excalibur? Are you going to be Taz? Are you going to be Michael Cole? Are you going to be Pat McAfee? Who are you going to like draw your inspiration from, Tempest? Because I think it should be Michael Cole.
Yeah, it's Michael Cole. Like, you pulled it out of me. I didn't want to. I wanted that to be the surprise for the actual show.
Sure,
that I actually am just the biggest Michael Cole fan in the world, and I want to just say vintage in every other second, and I quote, and, the things that make a wrestling show a wrestling show. Pull from the best, from the voice of the top company.
25 years.
25 years. It's ridiculous.
Good God. Anyway,
I'm going to be Tempest on the mic, Pete. I'm going to be myself, and I can't.
Yeah, you're going to be unique. Yeah. So this episode of Rampage, I didn't know any of the matches that were advertised going into this episode of Rampage. So I just opened up the show, ready to watch it this morning. And so we're getting right into the action. It's the Young Bucks. And I was like, oh, cool. Who are they facing? What? Wait, for real? We're having Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros? Like here, right now? They would know. Huh? This was surprising. This was not built to at all. This was just a really good match that they just said, Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, let's run it back.
Yep.
And you know what? I could make criticisms and say that this should be maybe built to a bit more because they're two of your biggest teams in AEW and maybe there should be more consequences and stuff like this. But at the same time, God, this was so much fun.
Yep.
Just, these guys are unbelievably good. I cannot fathom the pace that they keep through their matches. The amount of spots that they manage to fit into a match and the pace that they keep through them and how smooth all of their stuff is all the time. I can't fathom it. This was incredible. What a match.
This is one of the best tag rivalries of all time. Yeah. They do not miss together. They just have such brilliant chemistry. And I agree that you would think that because this match was the big promoted tag match of the first Double or Nothing and then the first All Out and then last year's All Out. That would seem like a really big deal. And here it's the opener of Rampage, which I'm not going to complain about because I get it. It's the week after a pay-per-view is really hard to book ahead of time because this is kind of just this is the book week of shows, because you have to deal with the fallout of a pay-per-view and book accordingly, and you can't spoil the pay-per-view by showing what's going to come next and all that. So I understand that, and they wanted to put the Young Bucks over big with a really great match and basically their hometown. These guys are just fantastic. These guys are fantastic. I'm sorry, there are other people who are also contenders, but it would take a gargantuan effort for someone to make me believe that the Young Bucks are not the best tag team in the world. And it's one thing if you go and have the great matches during your tag title run where you just have an incredible run, but then it's just you know what? The Young Bucks aren't on TV every week. They don't wrestle all the time. They have tag matches kind of every once in a while now. And you put them out there for one, just bang, banger, match of the night, fantastic match, one of the best matches of the week. Their track record is unbelievable. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the tag title soon.
100%.
I think they could beat Jurassic Express and then do kind of return the favor for FTR the first time having a short tag title run to give it to the Young Bucks, have them win the titles at maybe have them win the titles on TV during the summer and then lose the titles to FTR at All Out in FTR Bucks 3. I think that is a perfect direction for the tag titles at this point.
100%. I think those titles need to end up around FTR's waist for sure. Yep. And I think a great direction to get them there is to, like you said, I probably would have preferred it if maybe the Bucks won a Double or Nothing. So they were actually coming off hot. But I mean, this kind of reset the Bucks in a way. They were yeah, sure, we'll put over the Hardys. But also, we're still amazing and we beat the Lucha Bros. So it's still they're still very much in contention to be around there. And you had Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the crowd, and the Hardys are in the crowd. Yeah. So it was look at all these tag teams that we have in our division right now. So I think there's enough fuel to have the Young Bucks go for the titles, I think.
I think so. And if you have the Young Bucks win the tag titles, maybe the Young Bucks and the Hardys for the tag titles is like the big summer tag title match. You know, like the Dynamite one where you don't need to do the Hardys tag title match on pay-per-view. You can just do a really big match, and that'll be the match that like puts over the Young Bucks' current title reign and makes it still feel important before they lose it a month later to FTR. There's just a lot that you could do with this. I don't know if they're going to go that direction, but if the Hardys beating them sets up a tag title match for later in the summer, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd really like that. Yeah, if the Young Bucks win the titles, do a rematch against Hardys, they beat the Hardys this time, lose it to FTR. Great. I'm all for
perfect,
it.
yeah.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
What an opener. God, so much fun. We then had one of the quickest matches in Rampage history, I want to say.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs beat people. I don't even know who they were, I'll be honest. This was one of the quickest squash matches I've ever seen. And this was weird because they had like a picture-in-picture promo during this, which is fine. I'm not against that at all. I mean, you know, WWE have been doing that for, you know, decades. You know, someone's doing an entrance, and while they're doing an entrance, they have one of their promos play or whatever. That's fine. But this one, they played the promo during the finish of the match, which was strange. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, because for me, it distracted me from the action. I didn't even see what the finish was. I just saw that they won because I was looking at the promo. You know, I was like, okay, they're going to do the promo. Then I'm going to go back and watch the match. I was watching the promo and go, and during that, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs got the victory. Like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. If this happened in like any other match, I'd probably be like, you got to fix that right now. But I'm like, this is a squash match. So like, I don't really care that much. Like, I get it. You don't want to do this. And this probably just happens because it's difficult to time, you know, what's actually happening in the ring with, if you just like hit play on your inset promo, just be like, boom, go. Well, you're locked in until it finishes. So if they hit their spine buster and go for the 3, like, you're just kind of out of luck, you know, you miss the finish. Like, it sucks, and it's going to happen sometimes if it's a quick match and there's not that much wiggle room on either side of the finish, but it's a squash match. I'm not going to get like that bent out of shape about it. I don't even know who the guys were who got beat. So like,
not a clue.
You know, it doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah. But then we got the in-ring debut of Athena, who faced Kiera Hogan. This was a fun little match. It's nice to see Kiera Hogan getting some more in-ring time as well. I think she's very good. And Athena, they worked okay. This was a fine match. This wasn't perfect by any means, but it was good. It was nice to see Athena wrestling again, because I've not seen her wrestle, you know, since her WWE days or before that. At least properly, because even in NXT, she was not treated very well. So, you know, having a proper Athena match.
Remember all those people that told me that I was so wrong, and that they were doing so much with Ember Moon and NXT, and that run was actually great, and that I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Marks. Nah. No, I don't care. I just thought,
all right, MJF, calm down.
Yeah, Jesus. Just put a little tick in the Tempest was right. Tempest was right. Folder a year later. I'm not going to let it go. Hold on to the things that I was right for a million years, and if I'm wrong, forget about it the next week. But yeah, I really like Kiera Hogan, the superior Hogan. She is one of the people that I wanted to see more of on TV. She was one of the people that I said should be in part of a faction in the AEW Women's Division. Another tick in the Tempest's right folder. It was crazy how things work out. But I enjoyed this match. I thought it could have been better. Like, I don't know if it's just them working together, like, you know, first time, kind of getting the vibe of each other, or just working a new promotion for the first time. But there were like just a few things that were a step off here and there, like Kiera Hogan doing her like kind of step up leg drop. It's like everything, some things would just be like that second delay that makes things feel a little bit less polished a little bit. But I mean, Athena won, you know, she got to, you know, deal with interference from Red Velvet and still overcome that. And I think that her and Jade Cargill will probably be like the biggest match that Jade Cargill has had as champion. So if this is just a short match to build to that, I think this did its job just fine.
I could even see Athena winning it.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. Oh, I've always thought that like maybe Chris Statlander would be the one, but like that's not based on anything. That's just me being like, I would like to see Chris Stat get a win.
Yeah. Sorry, I just need someone in the chat saying it's a super tick party for Tempest because you're always right.
I am always right. Tempest is always right.
Super tick party. We got a House of Black promo featuring Julia Hart. She's with him now and said some stuff.
Spooky
Promo. We then got the CM Punk promo that we mentioned before, and the main event was Scorpio Sky versus Dante Martin for the TNT title. This was a fun little match, but this TNT title situation still not good. Honestly, it's such a shame because Scorpio Sky is really good. And I think he deserves to have a proper TNT title reign. And I think he should have one, by all means. He has been severely tainted by all of the stuff that happened with Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti and Frankie Kazarian. That whole thing has just really tainted everybody involved really badly. Yeah. And this sort of felt like a reset for the belt in that there was no shenanigans with Guevara, Conti, Kazarian, whatever. It's Dante Martin, someone completely new, TNT title shot, great. But it still felt like something was wrong, man. Like, it just felt like the TNT title has just been diminished by all of this.
Like, the way that I'm kind of visualizing it right now is you look at the TNT title and just a good open challenge type TNT title run from Scorpio Sky. It's probably like about here. It's good, solid. You have really good matches, and you go there, and it probably doesn't do a whole lot of this. It's just a good, solid run. They started this run way down here. Way down here. They've done a terrible job with this TNT title run. And now that they're going back and just doing what they should have done in the first place, which would have had it about here, well, I'm sorry, but it's still like here now. It's still below where it would have been because of what you had booked. So just going back and having him win a bunch of like solid main event matches against lower guys on the card, I need more than that for this TNT title. And I'm sorry, and this is where I do feel really bad because I like Scorpio Sky and I want to see him succeed, but like, I need the title to get off of him before it can start to be rehabbed. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be excited when I see Men of the Year and American Top Team come out. I'm just not going to. And therefore, I'm not going to be excited about a TNT title match. And I think that I need to be.
I think they had the opportunity to make it exciting again by turning Scorpio face. They were on course to kind of separate Scorpio's TNT title reign from all the stuff that had come before, but then they just went right back to what they were doing, and they continued that stuff with Sammy Guevara afterwards, and that's just tainted everything again, and it was still stuck in that same spot of it not being as good as it should be, which is a real shame, because like we said, Scorpio Sky deserves a good title reign, but now is not the time for that, apparently, which sucks.
It does. It sucks, and it's really unfortunate. Like, here's another part of it. Because you look at some of the other great TNT champions, right? And I don't think it's a stretch to say that of all the TNT champions so far, Scorpio Sky is like the lowest on the card among them. You get like Cody, Brody Lee, Darby, Miro, Sammy, and now Scorp. When you're Miro and you're like a bigger star and like a bit, just if you're a better presented champion like Miro or Cody, you can beat higher level challengers because you're above them. I can't see Scorpio Sky going out and like defending the TNT title against Lance Archer and like big top level talent because I'm sorry, but he's below them on the card. So unless you're going to have him go on a babyface run and start beating the people that are above him on the card and have that be his run, it's just a lackluster run. He's just beating the people that are lower than him on the card, like Dante Martin's, and like, those are the good matches that get sprinkled in throughout those other matches, but it's I don't know, this whole run just has been off, very off, and I very much would like it to change.
Yeah, and I feel like the the placement of the TNT title right now, it's fine as a mid-card belt, but the TNT title was never really a mid-card belt. It was pretty up there, you know? It was like just under world title status. And now it's a pretty solid mid-card belt, which if that's what you want for the TNT title, that's fine, but it feels like a massive downgrade from what they had before.
And I want to, again, make a point here in regards to this, that it's only been one match after the whole Sammy situation. That's not my problem, because this is the choice that you make when you delay the start of Scorpio's TNT title run by like 5 months. You know, like I think I've discussed this on maybe SP3 show or something, but it's like Sammy's run as TNT champion started with his title reign. He had like 2 weeks of buildup and then he started. Darby Allin's run as TNT champion started at Full Gear. He had like 1 week of buildup before that, but the run starts when he wins the belt. The run for Scorpio Sky starts at like Christmas. Because Men of the Year fight with Cody Rhodes and they fight with Sammy Guevara for months upon months upon months. And now the time that should just be spent having Scorpio Sky's run has been spent dealing with Sammy Guevara and all this hot potato, Frankie Kazarian and a million other things, so that by the time we get through 6 months, which is about the length of a normal TNT title reign, I'm already sick of it. And the run is now just starting because he just won the title back. And now I'm supposed to get invested in another like longer reign, maybe? I'm not going to do it. I'm tired of it. I've seen it already. Like the time has passed. I'm ready for the TNT title to be moved on to a different area of the AEW roster.
Yeah. But that was Rampage. It was still, regardless of that though, a very good show. With that opener, the CM Punk promo, wow. It's still a 5 out of 5 show regardless, because those two things were phenomenal.
Yeah, if you have 2 5 out of 5 segments in a 1 hour show, that's a 5 out of 5 show to me.
Yeah, exactly. And they were not quick segments either. Like, that's the opening match that went like 15 minutes and a promo that got about 10 minutes. That's a lot of the show. That's like half the show. Yeah. That's easily 5 out of 5. It's great. Anyway, Tempest.
Let's
talk about SmackDown, shall we?
Sure.
Don't really want to, but...
Should be quick.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to say about this show.
Hey, my theory... that whenever they play the full intro, it's a boring and a filler show. Still true. Still true, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because they played the full intro on this episode and nothing happened. This was some. So they played the full intro and immediately I was like, uh-oh.
Oh,
and then the New Day came out for a promo segment. I was like, uh-oh. Okay. New Day came out, did a promo, brought out Drew McIntyre. He cut a promo. They did a thing where they gave him a gift. I was like, guys, this is all filler. This is nothing's happening, is it? You can't fool me.
This is a go-home show. This is a go-home show.
This is a go-home show, Tempest, where on the Hell in a Cell card, before SmackDown, there was not one SmackDown match on the card. It was all Raw matches.
Yeah.
Baffling. Drew McIntyre called himself Big D. He gets like a kilt or whatever. The Brawling Brutes came out. Why is this feud still happening? Saying that if we faced again, we'd beat you. And then Butch runs down and he gets beaten up. And then after an ad break, we're doing a rematch from last week. It's a 6-man tag again. Whoop-de-doo is what I say to that. Except this time, Tempest, the Brawling Brutes won. Butch hit the bitter end on Woods. Really glad that Woods got the pin last week. Glad that he was being built up for something.
I can't care.
No, me neither. That's the thing.
I'm not going to get worked up about it. Like I've been watching the New Day and the Brawling Brutes fight all year, and okay.
So long.
They had a match. The match was my eyes glazed over. It was fine.
Yeah.
What more do you want me to say? It was the first half hour of the show was this match and this segment.
And the thing is, Tempest, this was the best thing on the show.
Yeah. By a bit.
Yeah. After that, we got a recap of the championship contenders match from Raw, which I'm not going to talk about because it's really, really stupid and I'll get worked up about it. We then got Riddle and... Yeah, it's dumb. Riddle and Nakamura did a promo backstage, where as part of the promo, they also played a recap of the Usos winning the titles. Again, this is a filler show. They're just filling for time at this point. They announced they were going to do a 6-pack challenge for the women's #1 contender match. Then we got Max Dupri backstage saying that his next week is going to unveil his first client. Yeah, sure.
I wonder who that's going to be. Who's a male model that can come out of NXT and just be like, I'm a sexy man. Look at me being a sexy man. Is Zion Quinn getting called up or something? I don't know.
I can see Zion Quinn. That'd be fine. That's fine.
Would it? You don't watch NXT anymore, Pete.
Honestly,
it's not fine.
I barely watch SmackDown at this point.
Yeah.
I just glaze over when this show is on because, God, nothing happens. There's one small bit that I like from the Max Dupri. Obviously, LA Knight's a good talker. Max Dupri's a good talker. I liked that he was saying, what was it? Because he cuts his promos about like a few inches away from Adam Pearce's face. It's very getting in his personal space. And Adam Pearce asked him, who is it? Who are you going to unveil next week? And he goes, don't you think that's a bit invasive? It's like, that's
see, like him being a good talker makes all of this wacky WWE nonsense work, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, something about like if you just have good delivery, can you imagine them writing this for someone without good delivery? You step to them, you step into their face. You say, doesn't that seem a bit invasive? They would not make any of this sound realistic and believable. But
no, exactly.
Max Dupri is a good talker.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get used to that one.
We then got a very long video package for Cody versus Seth.
That SmackDown match. That SmackDown match. I don't watch Raw. Do they recap SmackDown bits during that show for the chat? Let me know. Do they? I don't know. For the chat. This is a genuine question. I'm just curious. Do they show like SmackDown recaps of whatever doesn't happen on SmackDown during Raw? Let me know. Fill me in.
I'm going to assume no. Unless it's something to do with Roman, probably. That's what I'd guess.
You got about a 50-50 shot of that these days. You know, when y'all it's later in the show. I guess not because he's not on the show. But like,
yeah,
if you told me, well, let's put both belts on Roman, I didn't think it would make the belts look bad.
Yeah. We got Humberto versus Jinder after a recap of Jinder and Shanky from last week. Shanky is dancing again, and he distracted both Jinder and Humberto, and then Jinder got the roll-up win, and then he danced some more, and then Jinder was still annoyed at him.
And then he danced some more with the ring announcer.
God. It's really bad.
Hey man, if you want to put your nationally televised wrestling show on the air and have Shanky at ringside with the asterisk for Jinder Mahal versus Humberto Carrillo, and if you think that's acceptable, I mean, hey, more power to you. I want to know the one person that stopped flipping channels and saw Jinder Mahal and Humberto Carrillo and went, I'm a fan now. This is my wrestling moment.
This.
You're gonna hear from some kid like 15 years from now talking about how they got into wrestling, and they'll be like, I'll never forget. I was flipping the channels one day and I saw this giant man dancing and I couldn't turn away. And then I saw the action in the ring and it got better. Jinder Mahal, former WWE champion. The commentary blew me away. And you really, the punches look so great because of all the camera cuts. This is what the generation of the future is going to be saying.
Mm-hmm. God. We then had a recap. Shocking that. It's crazy that the show had so many recaps. Recap of Shotzi's promo from last week and then the following tag match that happened. Then
I did get upset at the show.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest show I've ever seen.
So, hold on. Let me get this straight. So, Ronda Rousey comes out and she's sitting on commentary. Well, she's sitting by the commentary desk. She's not on commentary. Good call for this 6-pack challenge to determine the number one contender. Raquel Rodriguez comes out. Shotzi comes out. Aliyah's music hits and she doesn't come out. Cuts to backstage. She is locked in the women's locker room like she did to Shotzi last week. Cut to an ad break.
What's the big idea here?
Yep, that happened. Cut to an ad break. Come back. And you know that on a normal show, you'd come back and everyone would be in the ring.
I
Not this
died
week.
crying. I was laughing so hard. They came back from commercial and no one else had come out. They did nothing in the arena for like 3 minutes. This is the worst show in the world.
Like, Shayna just came out after the ad break. Then Shayna, then who else is in this match? I don't know. Is that everyone?
Natalya came out after the break. Xylee came out after the break.
And then Tempest. This is the best bit. Waiting for the match to start, and Shotzi's like, "Come on, ring the bell." Referee's like, "But I can't. The 6th person isn't here. I can't start the match." And then he rings the bell anyway, and then Aliyah runs in immediately afterwards. What was the point in her getting locked in the locker room?
It's a baby show for babies. They're like, the officials are trying to locate the key to get Aliyah out of the locker room. Okay. I don't want to break down why everything was stupid. Y'all know that this is stupid. But remember, everybody. Remember, we are biased towards AEW.
We are
because when AEW does this exact thing that we're complaining about, we ignore it. For Christ's sake. Who locks someone in a room for like 10 minutes? It was like, they can't get out. They can't get out. I'm going to wait.
Having a match.
Can you imagine you like DX lock Stone Cold in a locker room in the Attitude Era. And then they go out and they're like, okay, guys, now we're going to wait for the commercial. Hopefully he doesn't get out in the ensuing time that we were just standing here in the ring. This show is garbage.
I said in my edited review of this, because there's another bit later that really wound me up in terms of like the pacing and stuff. I feel so bad for the people that paid to go watch this show because they were given nothing. They were given nothing on this show. Like when you go to watch a wrestling show and you get dick all, like Jesus, man, come on, it's ridiculous. They were also really hot at the start of this show. And by the time they got to the end, they were dead because nothing was happening. Nothing was happening in the ring. Anytime they went to an ad break, it was just people standing around doing dick all. Like, God, yeah.
If these were all fans who were teleported into the building and were told you're not allowed to leave until you watch the show, then I'd feel bad for them. But I mean, frankly, if you pay for a ticket to SmackDown at this point, you should know what you're getting. And like maybe that sounds dickish, but like SmackDown's not a good show.
No,
you know, maybe you'll get a good match on it, but it's not like you should be going into these with high standards. And if you just go and enjoy yourself, more power to you. I am genuinely happy that you have that to go and enjoy.
Yeah. And also, to this point of we're still watching and reviewing and WWE still making money, congratulations to WWE for still making money. They're putting on a bad show. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking at financial success. I'm talking about the quality of a show. And this is a bad show. Anyway,
Transformers made a lot of money too.
Sure did.
Bad.
Big Bang Theory. Whew.
Yeah,
so much money in that one.
Did you see Sean Ross Sapp's tweet that like the rights to that show were like were sold to whoever for like $1 billion? Oh
God!
Which of you people are watching the show?
So much
who? I need to like put all the people who watch Big Bang Theory in front of me, and I won't believe that it's a real crowd of people.
Yeah,
I won't believe it.
God.
Anyway,
do you want to know who won this 6-pack challenge, Tempest?
I don't remember. It was it was Natalya.
It was
Natalya.
Didn't
forget. I thought it was Raquel. God, didn't they already do Natalya and Ronda?
I don't know. And also,
that was like
Tempest,
one of Ronda's first
the 6 people in this match, Natalya's the one that I wanted to see win the least. Literally the least out of all 6 of them.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Natalya over Aliyah personally, but they're close.
It's something different.
Yeah.
God, I'm just... Right, so the only mildly interesting, and I put that lightly, mildly interesting thing from this is that Raquel was going to win. Shayna locked in the Kirifuda on Raquel, and Natalya stole the pin. So Shayna looked like she was kind of annoyed at Natalya for stealing her win. Dissension between Natalya and Shayna, because that's what we need, is more tag teams splitting up.
Yeah, I like the finish though.
Anyway.
I thought the finish was well executed.
The finish was well done. Yes, it was. It was. We got yet another recap of Corbin attacking Moss, which we have seen like 3 times every week for 3 weeks. Corbin then did a promo. Madcap, I think he's just called Madcap now, even though his Tron said Madcap Moss, all his graphics were just saying Madcap. So, hey ho. He then comes back.
Of WrestleMania: Roman Reigns versus Madcap.
God. Madcap then comes back. And we knew he was having some sort of rework. He was getting rid of the Madcap Moss jokester guy. He comes back in an ambulance. Why? Why would he come back in an ambulance?
Guys, listen, can I just borrow this ambulance for a bit? Can I? No, wait. We've got one at the arena. Never mind. I'll be back. I'll call you back. Guys, at the arena, we've got an ambulance in the back just for emergency, right? Can I just sit in there for a bit? Don't ask why. I just have a camera. He's gonna follow me. Just stand right here. My match is next. Or my promo's next. I'm just gonna sit in the ambulance for like 5 minutes. Just keep rolling. Don't miss it. It's gonna be really cool, guys. It's just him walking out of an ambulance. Yep. I want to know the 15 seconds before the camera starts rolling. He's just sitting in there. Why is he sitting in there? And this is pro wrestling wackiness. It's fine. I don't care that much. But it's fun to just feel like, what are you doing in there, bro? What are you doing in there?
It's like what happened before when Braun Strowman got shoved into a rubbish truck, a garbage truck. And then he came back a week later, came out of a garbage truck. It's like, you've been in there the whole time? Like Madcap has not been in an ambulance for 3 weeks. He's been elsewhere, you know? Like, geez. Anyway, he's not got suspenders anymore. He's wearing like black kind of like shorts, kind of. And he's got some tape. So I would argue that he's gone from having a very stupid character to having no character.
I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's got generic rock music as well now.
He sure does. Whoo boy.
This is
yeah,
it's not good. Also, somewhere in there we got a Lacey Evans video package because we need more time, I guess.
Down again.
Yeah, back to SmackDown.
SmackDown appears to be a babyface.
Yeah, but apparently there's a report saying she's going to be a heel. So who knows?
They don't.
It's Schrodinger's Lacey Evans. We don't know what she's going to be. Goodness me.
She is a babyface and a heel until she debuts. It's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Madcap Moss came out with his generic rock music. He cut a promo. It was fine. It was a good promo. He was fired up at least. It was okay. Nothing too special, but he was fired up and, he was aggressive and it was good. Corbin then came out and did a promo saying he wants to fight him, but not right now. And then Adam Pearce came out and said, actually, yes, right now. So then they had a match. But here's the thing, Tempest. We know that in WWE, wins and losses don't matter. And everyone knows that wins and losses don't matter, right? So if Corbin didn't want this match, why didn't he just walk away? Like, he got out of the ring at the start, and then he got back in, so he didn't get counted out. But it's like, why does that matter? If you don't want to get beaten up and you don't want the match, and wins and losses don't matter, just walk away, right?
I mean, on NXT this week, there were 2 separate segments of people saying that DQs matter. So maybe they're just on a kick right now that these stupid wins and losses matter this week. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to you.
No. But anyway, speaking of wins and losses really mattering, Madcap got a chair, used the chair, got DQ'd because he used the chair, and then beat up Corbin. Tried to replicate the same spot, wrapped it around his neck and went and got the steps to kind of like repeat it, which I thought was a nice little like mirroring of what happened before. But it gets stopped by officials. Corbin walks away, gets announced as the winner, and he's like, yeah, I won. It's like, why does that matter? It doesn't. Yeah. That's the answer. It doesn't.
Keep in mind, them saying on NXT that these 2 DQ wins matter, They didn't say like, oh, that puts me in line for something. It matters because of this. It just, well, I won. Good for you. Good for you, Baron. And just before people get on me, I think Duke Hudson may have mentioned something about an AEW or an NXT World Championship match, but that's not going to happen now because he also lost. Because wins and losses don't matter.
That's exactly right. And then Moss looked really upset that he lost. And it's like, you used the chair, numpty. Hey, everyone involved did this. This is bad. This is not good. I really don't need these guys to feud anymore. I'll be honest. I really don't.
No. You know, and this is me. I figured out that most of the internet is just, pretending that someone said something and then getting mad about it. But I feel like a lot of folks get mad at anti-WWE people for not giving these new stars a chance and everything, like, because I'm not interested in seeing Madcap Moss in this feud. But I also feel like that is just kind of the end result of Madcap Moss being a thing and being utterly unlikable and annoying for like a year,
Yeah.
And it's like we get told a lot that we're nitpicky about things like that, like things like Madcap Moss's character, and then he has that character for a year, and then I don't want to cheer him as a babyface, and I don't think that's my fault.
No,
I
don't think it is either.
I don't think that's my fault.
Yeah. The Usos did a promo. Cool. Okay.
They are
right, Tempest. Yeah. Here we go, Tempest. Here's the thing. Here's the pacing bit that was the worst bit of pacing on this show. Bearing in mind, we already had a laugh about some of the bad pacing on this show. This was the worst bit because
his favorite thing.
This was ridiculous. So the Usos did a backstage promo. The end of that backstage promo, Michael Cole said on commentary, Riddle and Nakamura versus the Usos is next.
You lied.
Bear that in mind. It's next. Ad break. We come back. We get a backstage promo with Corbin and Adam Pearce, where Adam Pearce makes the match official for Hell in a Cell. It's going to be Corbin versus Madcap. No rolls barred. No holds barred match.
Do you like board games?
Do you like board games? No holds barred match. Corbin and Madcap. Adam Pearce makes it official. Then we get the announcement that next week is going to be Ricochet versus Walter for the IC title. Ricochet does a promo. Walter does a promo. Riddle and Nakamura do the entrance for their match. We get a rundown of some of the Hell in a Cell matches. The Usos do their entrance. We get a rundown of more Hell in a Cell matches. They do the introductions for the tag title match. Then it cuts to an ad break, and then we come back and the match hasn't started yet. Oh, goodness me. That's really bad. That's bad. And I shouldn't need to explain why. That's really bad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a very poorly formatted show.
I feel like your microphone has just changed, Tempest. I feel like you're talking through a different microphone now. Maybe
talking through a different. Me. I don't know. I muted it because the things are going on outside, but
maybe not.
I don't know.
You sound fine.
Okay.
Anyway, goodness me. This match was fine. I feel like it had a good story that it wanted to tell. It just didn't quite tell that story right. Shinsuke got legitimately injured. Big quotation marks on that one. Towards the start of this match, referee threw up the X and everything. But he was carried out and he was fine. Like he was kind of like half limping on the thing. Not that X. That's a different X, Tempest. So it was Riddle fighting by himself. And I'm like, you know what? That's a fun story. Riddle fighting against the odds, against the Usos, in honor of Randy. That's a decent enough story. I feel like Riddle did a little too well for my liking, because he basically was in control of the match for the remainder. And also he had the thing where he was kind of taking care of Shinsuke as Shinsuke was being led up the ramp, and he turned around back to the ring and he realized it was going to be him 2-on-1 against the Usos. And he's like, I can do this. And he runs back down to the ring and everyone's like, yeah, Riddle, let's go. And he starts firing up and doing all this offense stuff. Can Riddle do it? Find out after this ad break. All the momentum gone. Like, come on, man. It's just fundamental stuff. It's fundamental stuff. Anyway, the finish of this match, Riddle was basically in control the rest of this match, trying to do like babyface hope spots, except it wasn't really a hope spot because he was in control the whole time. And it looked like he was going to win. He was lining Jimmy up for the super RKO off the top rope. Roman Reigns' music hits. Riddle then hits the super RKO anyway on Jimmy, but Jay had tagged himself in, hits the splash on Riddle, and gets the win. It was then revealed that Sami Zayn was the one who played the music. Roman wasn't actually coming out or whatever. Sami Zayn backstage had played Roman Reigns' entrance, and he took credit for them winning. So I feel like that is a half-decent idea. It's not great, distraction finish, but the idea is okay. And I like the fact that they justified that, hey, it was Zayn that did that backstage. Then it furthers him trying to get the Bloodlines approval and all that stuff. That's fine. I just feel like it didn't distract Riddle, which was sort of the whole point. Because the point was it was supposed to distract him, but what actually happened was the music played, and then Riddle hit the Super RKO anyway. And Jay tagged himself in, which would have happened even if the music didn't play. So the music playing actually achieved nothing. Which is weird.
I felt like this was kind of a half-baked match. Whereas, like, it was good. The action was good, but, like, the psychology of 2-on-1 with the babyface kind of kicks ass most of the time. Like, it's a fine line to walk because you don't want to beat your babyface too much, but it's okay for him to sell and come from behind if it's a 2-on-1 match. That being said, as far as the finish goes, I think if you had just, like, I don't know, like, shot this well and had it play out a little bit better, I think this could have been really solid. Like, if you have Riddle on the top rope, he's got the Uso kind of like ready for the top rope RKO, music hits, and he turns and he looks at the screen, and there's like not a lot of time because you don't want to make him look stupid and be like, oh, I'm not paying attention to my title match. But like, if you're facing this way and the screen changes over here, he's allowed to get distracted and music and everything in literally that second or 2 seconds that he types or that he looks. Sorry, I look at the chat. He looks, he gets distracted. That's when the other Uso just blind tags his foot, and he doesn't know that it's happened. He jumps off at the RKO, and as soon as he jumps off, climb up, hit the frog splash, and you win. I think if you just like frame the distraction differently, you make everybody just look a lot smarter. But again,
that's exactly that. That's what I mean. Like, the idea is fine, but the execution was bad.
Yeah.
That's all it was. The execution was bad. And it was the Usos retained. This was a nothing show. This is the going show for Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. For
Aren't
a Hell
you
in a Cell
excited?
show that doesn't have your unified champion on it.
Nope. And he hasn't been on the show for 2 weeks.
No. This is not the show for me to go into a long rant about this, but somewhere along the last year, the Roman Reigns title reign turned into a disaster. And I don't know exactly where that change happened. It was just all of a sudden, it's like, well, this is bad now.
Yeah.
And it was then bad for a year. And now it's awful. Like, he's not even on the show anymore, and he's holding the titles hostage.
Yeah.
And holding the titles hostage, it's not his choice, I would assume, to be champion and do all these things. But, like, Roman Reigns is world champion, is not doing it for me anymore. And a year ago, I was like, this is the best thing WWE's done in like 10 years. I thought Roman Reigns' title reign was like his first year of his title reign was like the best thing WWE had done, and like the best non-NXT thing that WWE had done in like since Break of the Shield, maybe something like that, like a long time ago. And now it's like, this is a beyond frustrating title reign that I want to be over very soon. And I wanted him to hold this title for like 4 years. I wanted him to like break Bruno Sammartino's record or something, or make a run at it, or break Hogan's second place, or not second place, but like have a really long reign as champion. And he has, but I wanted a long, good reign as champion. We got half of that. I wanted a full thing.
And then it became bad. And it's still bad. Anyway, this is a 1 out of 5 show. It sucked. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Awful. And that wouldn't have been acceptable for a regular week, but for a go-home show for Hell in a Cell, it's even worse. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we do the rest of your Ultrachats? Let's do that.
No.
Okay. Thanks for sending us money. Tempest doesn't care.
I care about every one of you.
I'm sure you do. Keep sending in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. Last chance to get those in. Going to read out the rest of these now. Cole Woodruff Music says, so many great options here. This is in regard to the interim champion for AEW. Miro gets the title, but it's not enough for his god because he didn't beat the champ himself. Darby gets a taste and starts a fire for a future run. Or Adam Cole, think of how cocky he would be acting like he runs the place. It's good.
It's good, yeah. It's tough for me to think about putting the title on Adam Cole after he just spent most of the spring losing world title matches. I think he kind of needs to wait his turn a little bit.
I agree, yeah. Tails P said, I can see Mox becoming interim champ. The Battle Royal comes down to 4 people. MJF, Bryan, Hager, and Dustin. Don't know who wins, but MJF has to lose to an ex-WWE guy. That's good. MJF losing to an ex-WWE guy is good. I don't know if it's those 4 in particular.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that be the final 4.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have that be the final 4.
But I like the idea of him losing to an ex-WWE guy. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
if he ends up going on a babyface run of just I am the ex-WWE killer, that's something.
Fine.
That's neat.
I'm all
might
for
not
it.
be immediate, but like,
yeah.
Hey, future.
Yeah. Nick Pino said, like Pete said, it would be great to get Punk to do commentary similar to Starks when he got injured. If possible, I'd like to see him replace Jericho on Rampage because after all that confusion he created, I'm personally done with him. May seem harsh. I was done with Jericho before that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think if we can get Punk on commentary while he's recovering, yay.
I would like commentary.
That. It's good.
I like Punk commentary very much. I've been done with Jericho commentary since like the second Rampage.
Yep, same. Lakshmi Narasimhan B says, as for interim champ, lots of options for who could be champ when he returns, not necessarily who becomes champ immediately. MJF, Danielson, Moxley, Kingston, Hangman again, Tanahashi, Miro. Heck, if he returns soon enough, Omega. It does suck that Punk's injured so short into his reign, gave Balor flashbacks, although I don't think this would hurt Punk's momentum as it did Balor. Silver lining is the return pop that could wipe out negativity from Double or Nothing, depends on who's the champ. The thing with Balor is that it didn't need to derail his momentum, but they made it so.
I was going to say,
you're not being a champion again.
I was going to say, it didn't derail his momentum. It ran it into a brick wall, and it never, ever recovered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, it didn't need to. People getting injured happens, and they can still be over when they come back. It's just they saw him get injured, and they were like, oh, that's that.
Oh, not him. We tried.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yeah. God damn it. Anthony.
It's all your fault, Finn Balor. No, it's all your fault, Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
Stop throwing people.
And definitely not Vince McMahon. Anthony says, since the AEW title doesn't get passed around, they should use this to give a short run to someone that they want to be champ, but the queue is too long and there isn't a specific story for how they win, like Andrade, Pac, Malachi, Keith Lee, Miro.
I think the logic behind that is correct. I think you use that on someone like a Tanahashi or something. Like if you're going to go and just do something kind of out of the blue and something that they're not expecting, do it as big as possible. Like put it on the biggest star possible. And I know to a lot of people, like the names listed will be bigger than Hiroshi Tanahashi, but yeah.
Tenreza said, I am so pumped for the next month of AEW. New Japan sightings and hopefully some Bullet Club and Undisputed Elite stories. Also, Naito and LIJ back with Rush and Andrade. Also, please check out Impact on the way to Slammiversary because that show looks great.
Indeed. Check out Impact. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I thought there was going to be more New Japan than there was this week, but I guess it's a week after pay-per-view. Got time. Not a lot of time, mind you. We've got a lot of people to introduce in a very short period of time, so I think we do need to kind of pick up the pace on that next week.
I feel like there might need to be some sort of like, I don't know, like a video or something that needs to be made about like, people who aren't too familiar with New Japan, everything they need to know about it before Forbidden Door. It sounds like the kind of thing that should be made at some point,
I agree. I think people maybe should keep their eyes out for something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Weird. Hannah Allen says, by the way, I love the WrestleTalk crew, everyone, but welcome back, Tempest. I needed and wanted LIW's opinion on this. You guys have my punk level fandom. Couldn't agree more with the championship direction ideas. All fun, and it's AEW. They got this. Hashtag LIW for life. Thank you. Appreciate it, Hannah. Golden RK9 says, hey guys, as I'm going to Forbidden Door, this news absolutely crushed me this morning. I'm a Chicago native and huge punk fan, but I can't help but ask, do you think they should have just stripped him? AEW seem too attached to their plans sometimes.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this topic in general because, like, I don't know if some fans have an issue with the interim title thing just because they haven't seen it done in wrestling in so long, or if because it's bad, you know, or if it's like they should just have one champion, you know, because I do think the interim TNT title situation, the interim ROH women's title situation, both of which were kind of just like, you don't really need to do either of those. You could just strip them and have a new champion and have them defend the title against that person at a later time. That's fine. I think in this case, if it's your world title, I think it kind of like makes sense to be like, well, he's never lost it, so there will be an interim champion. If it's like your mid-card championship, it's like, I don't think it cares. I don't think it matters that much. But for something like this, I think it's okay. If he's not going to be gone for like a year and a half with surgery, if he's going to be gone for a short period of time, you know, I think you can do it.
I also like the idea of having consistency. If they've done interim titles for other championships, I feel like they should be able to do interim titles for this as well. Like you said, especially if he's going to be out for a relatively short period of time. Yeah, and I think if someone's going to be out past a certain point, then you should strip them because they're going to be out for too long. But for this, I think it works. From Wednesdays, from Wednesday? What happened on Wednesday? Well, I guess from Dynamite, I suppose. I want Ortiz to lose and do the Suzuki spot to shave his own head. He'd look so badass. That's from Nate S.
That is not... Well, I don't know. I would assume Ortiz is probably going to lose this match because Jericho's probably not going to shave his head. But that's the entertaining bit. I want to see Jericho get shaved bald and be a sports entertainer about it.
Because he's losing his hair. He doesn't actually kind of need it.
Well, anymore. I don't know. We've seen a lot of different Jerichos. We haven't seen bald Jericho. It might be terrible. A little bit. I'm interested. But the Suzuki spot, shout out to you, Nate S. That's a great shout. I love that match. I love that spot. Watch Wrestle Kingdom 12.
I do as well.
Fantastic.
It was so cool. That spot was so awesome.
Wrestle Kingdom 12? Wrestle Kingdom 11.
I think it was
11.
Was it 11? I thought it was 12.
Yeah. Was it?
Was it against Goto?
Right, it was Goto. I thought it was Shibata for a second. That's right. It was Suzuki and Goto at 12. That's right.
Yeah.
Because it was Goto and Shibata at 11. It's all coming back to me.
On the subject of SmackDown, Eternal Blue says, you guys can say all you like about Moss coming out of an ambulance, but I'm sure you loved it whenever Undertaker would come out of a coffin after being killed months beforehand. Kidding, mostly.
Yeah, you know, in 94, when I was totally alive.
Yeah, I was one.
Yeah.
I also don't like Undertaker coming out of a coffin, but that's just me. Perseus M said, I had tickets for SmackDown. I had a great time because I gave them away to my cousins and watched season 3 of The Boys at home.
Oh, it sounds like a good time. Oh, I want to do that. That might be my weekend. That might be my Sunday.
Yeah. Tails P said, it's Memorial Week. Where was Lacey Evans? Where was Sean Dean? WWE didn't even drag out Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, it would have been a good time to debut Lacey Evans, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Lacey Evans was supposed to have her Raw in-ring return, but then she got moved to SmackDown. So...
Yeah. Goodness they didn't have Zelina Vega wrestle on like the 9/11 show, so like this doesn't surprise me, you know.
Yeah. Tailspeed said, what was the point of locking Aliyah up if she's not going to come out at the last minute and win, making Shotzi an idiot for keeping her fresh? Also, can't start till all the competitors are here? Does the ref not know how Roman won the Universal Belt? Legitimately, yes. That is the first thing that I thought of when the referee was like, well, I can't start the match. It's like, you've done it before. This is the problem with WWE is they have no consistency across anything.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying about the interim stuff in AEW. Like, I like that they have consistency. Even if you don't like necessarily what it is, at least it's consistent. The Tails P said, quick non-wrestling rant. Black Bear Diner is the worst breakfast I've ever paid for. These pancakes are drier than Popeye's biscuits. Syrup and butter don't help. Sure.
I will know not to take my next fantasy football punishment breakfast to the Black Bear Diner.
There you go. That's what we do on the WrestleTalk podcast. Just crap on brands that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Black Bear Diner, wherever We're that is.
Never getting a sponsorship from Black Bear Diner now, Tempest. God damn it. Hector Rodriguez said, hey, Pete, quick question. Is Warcaster under the WrestleTalk banner, or is that your own personal thing? Also, what's people's problem with interim championships in wrestling? Boxing and MMA do this all the time, and they don't have a problem with it. In answer to the first part, Warcaster is my thing. It's not WrestleTalk related, but that's also why I've not been uploading to it, because I have lots of other things that are taking up a lot of my time. So
I have no idea what that feels like.
Sure. Yeah. What's people's problem with interim championships in wrestling? I don't know. I think they're fine.
Because I think my opinion is that in like boxing and MMA, that stuff is real. So you don't really have as much control over what you do. You know, so if a guy is just like, I can't fight for 6 months, you know, it's not as much wiggle room that you can do. Whereas like in wrestling, you kind of control everything, not injuries and acts of God and that stuff, but you have control over the entire situation. You can book what you want to do. And I think a lot of people, you know, it's just a lot easier to follow a linear championship than when it starts branching off into different paths and you got to keep track of different things. It's more complicated that way. I don't necessarily think it's worse, but I can understand people not liking it.
Yeah. Manuel Cifuentes said, just to clarify, Tempest, I definitely got my money's worth on 4 hours of wrestling. They kept us fresh for Rampage, so I appreciate that. True, Pete, no build for the tag match, but Jesus, they put on a good match. By the way, Tempest, thanks for sweeping my Angels.
You're welcome. It's baseball, Pete.
Sports.
Yeah. Baseball. Cool. Go Blue Jays. We lost last night. It's sad.
Yeah. Cool. I think that is it. That's a lot of Ultrachats. Thank you, guys. You've been very chatty today. That's great. Really appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much. We've got Hell in a Cell live reactions tomorrow. Did you forget it was Hell in a Cell? I did. This SmackDown didn't make you think about it, did it? It's going to be Adam versus Sully on the Hell in a Cell live reaction. That's going to be fun. Ollie and Luke will be reviewing Hell in a Cell on Monday as well. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later. Subscribe. Watch some other stuff. Watch the Dynamite review from this week with Ollie and Luke, because they talk about, you know, all the stuff that happened. The MJF. Yeah. All of that jazz.
Miro,
Tanahashi. All the things that happened. Yeah, so go check that out and subscribe if you haven't. Like the video. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Jam. Bye. LIW for life. Bye.
Jam.
Bye.